She has a diploma in guidance and counseling from NCRT Bhopal. She is a certified parenting coach. She is a qualified teacher in Army Public School. Mrs. Sarika has qualified herself in CTET, that is Central Teacher Eligibility Test, and OST, that is Online Screening Test, which is conducted by Army Welfare Education Society. She has been working in Army public schools and Kendriya Vidyalayas throughout the country for the past 15 years, enrolled in the Directory of Counselors in the Mano Darpan Cell, a helpline for adolescents and parents by NCRT New Delhi. On several occasions, she has been a panel speaker in sessions for adolescents and parents in NCRT official TV channel. She has been practicing a counselor for Happify You, an online counseling app. Mrs. Sarika is presently working as a counselor in Army Public School, Golconda, Hyderabad, since November 2022. Mrs. Sarika Raghuvanshi is all yours, ma'am.
What support is this?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Veera sir, for that introduction. At the onset, I would like to thank all the organizers for giving me this opportunity and on this prestigious platform of APA India. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Over the years, as I worked as a teacher, counselor, parent coach, and telecounselor, one thing through my interactions with the teenagers and their families, I have understood that one thing stands out. The teenagers are trying to create and discover themselves and trying to find an identity for themselves. So I would like to begin with a self-reflective question, and I would want my PPT to be displayed on the screen, if I may. Is my PPT visible on the screen?
No.
No. I've requested somebody to present screen on my behalf because of network issues on my
Sarika, ma'am, one. We are doing it for you. The host is
Okay.
Sudha. She has to transfer it.
So as the PPT is being displayed, let me try to set an intention for today's discussion. I will take you through the understanding the concept of identity, that what identity is, what are the different layers of identity. I would also try to throw some light on the influencing factors in the process of identity development. And also, I would like to discuss the importance, like why identity development is important, why it matters. Then how, as parents, we can support in this journey, and what are the modern day challenges for the teenagers in the present era in this journey of identity development. Is my PPT visible now? I can't hear you, Veera sir. I think you're trying to say something.
No, I am not able to see.
No. 1 minute, ma'am. We are doing it for you. They're transferring it host to me.
Will I? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's
It started, ma'am.
Visible?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Although I am not able to see the screen. I can only see you.
oh. Um,
I'll do
It
one thing.
started,
I'll
madam.
open.
you have logged in through your mobile.
No, I'm logged through laptop. So I'll do one thing. I'll open the PPT in my slide so that we can be on the same page.
No issues.
Yeah, it's visible now. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have-
I can see the
Yeah.
screen. Thank you. So let's begin with the self-reflection. I want to ask you all this question that if I ask who you are, not your name or what you do, what is your profession, if this question, like who am I, who you really are, what is that one word that comes to your mind when you try to answer this question, who am I? I would want the participants to use the chat box. I would love I'm little, selfish here. I want to, take your energies also. Kindly
Yeah.
participate.
Alia ma'am says human being.
Human being, okay.
Yeah.
One word. Come on, quick.
I-
Everybody, please participate.
Aisha Marine gives her name Aisha.
What is that
Alia
one
says
word
she's
that
a
comes
human.
to mind? Okay. If I try to answer that question, one word, sensitive. Veera sir, what is your take? What is that one word that comes to your mind when I ask you this question? Who are you?
For me, if you say who I am, I'll say I am my word.
I am my,
I am my word. I am who I create myself.
so integrity. That's
Yeah.
one word that, okay. Now I ask the same question, but you cannot use the same word. Who are you? Come on. Don't overthink. Whatever comes to your mind. Be instinctive and answer this question.
I am a soul which is existing here.
Soul, okay. One more word, sir. Who are
I am
you?
a wonderful genius. I am a
Genius. Somebody says one word, just the word.
genius.
Genius. Okay. Let me ask you the same question again, Veena ma'am. Who are you? You cannot use the same word again. Think.
I am a learner.
Learner.
I'm
Excellent.
an interesting soul.
Yeah. More inputs, please. Try to give one word for this question. Who are you? Uma Devi. Yes, Uma ji. What is that one word? Anybody can unmute themselves and answer this question if you are not
I'm an interesting soul.
interesting. Okay. Another word?
Courageous.
Yes. What was that word, ma'am?
Courageous.
Courageous.
Self
More answers.
self vacuum personality.
Yeah. Come again. So when we try to answer this question, and the more number of times you ask this question to yourself, you will be diving deep into your inner self. This is the case for adults, but now you try to answer the same question, who am I, from the perspective of a 14 or a 15-year-old child. A child who is a digital native who has a lot of impact and pressure from the peers, from the school, from the family, the pressure about academics, the pressure about performing, the pressure about blending in, the pressure about comparing, all that thing. So just imagine how difficult.
in between.
I'll switch off my video because my network is very poor today. So I would like to switch off. Please allow me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And stay with me. I'm very much here. Switching off my video so that we can better communicate. And I would request to the PPT for now, next slide.
Just hold. We have an issue with the host.
So, so this is the first question, which can lead to many further following steps in the journey of identity development or discovering self. We, yeah, next slide, sir. This we have already discussed. Next.
Okay.
Yeah. Please click because there's an animation on this slide. Yeah. So identity, let's try to break it down. Identity it's an amalgamation of three components: personal identity, social identity, and cultural identity. Now, if we ask this question, the first thing that comes to our mind is related to that I am Sarika. So we relate ourselves with our name. Then we relate ourselves with our likes, dislikes, interest, inclination. Then when we deep dwell into this, how we behave, how we feel, how we act, here we are tapping our social identity. So we all have a we component of our identity. The personal identity is the I component. Social identity is the we component. And cultural identity, it has a historical, social, and political context, and it is imbibed through, it is a lifetime impact that the culture, the nationality, the ethnicity, the religion, all that have a cumulative impact on our identity. So let's try to understand.
Madam, class.
Now I want to discuss the first component, the personal identity. I'll request kindly move.
The audience be silent, please. You are disturbing the speaker. Mute yourself.
Personal identity. I would like to discuss the personal identity first. Let's move on to the next slide.
Krishna garu, can you mute yourself? Krishna,
Among the audience, there is some background noise. I would request everyone mute themselves if they do not, if they are not participating in the discussion. Okay, personal identity is about what we believe in, what values do we adhere to, and values are the guiding principles for the choices that we make, and what worth that we have for ourselves or our abilities. So the first component comes from the sense of self-worth, so which is developing in a teenager. So the questions or the statements like I am creative, or I am introvert, or I am, like somebody said, I am a genius. So these come from the sense of self-worth. Okay, and during the journey of journey of identity development, we keep trying to authenticate and make a very stable sense of this self-worth. So this is how identity develops in the personal domain. Now, these statements like I am interested in music, or I am good in music, or I am good in dance, or I do not like maths, or I have an inclination towards arts. These are the statements which also come from the personal domain and which are centered around the educational and academic and the career choices that we make, or the career preferences, or the academic inclinations that we have. So a teenager tries to figure out the self-worth by experimentation, by trying out new things, new roles, and the interest through the association he or she finds in the choices which are offered and available in the surroundings. Children in the teenage also have, in fact, the adults also have this domain, in this domain of personal identity, about their own perspective about their body, which is the body image, the physical aspect of their identity. In the teenage, it's very, very dominant. It's very, very, I mean, they're very inclined about, or they are very conscious about this domain also, because of the various changes happening at the physical level and at the cognitive level. So now they can think about themselves in very complex ways, because I'll talk about that in the later slides. So I am beautiful, or I am ugly, or I do not fit in, or I am smart, or I am handsome, or I am ugly, I have a flat nose, or I am short, I am tall. These kind of statements come from the domain of personal identity only. Let's move ahead, sir. Let's now talk about the social identity. Yeah, social identity. We also associate a lot with our society, our family. We get a lot of perspective from the family members around, from the friends, from the colleagues, which determines the social identity. Now, here I want to ask you questions, and I want you all to participate. Then only you will be able to understand why this picture of a cricket match is used there in the slide. Tell me one thing, when Indian team, Indian cricket team, or for that matter, Indian football team or hockey team is playing on the ground, and especially when they are playing against Pakistan, what kind of emotions do we experience? Anybody? I want one of you
Sense
to
of belongingness, like we are related to this team
yes,
and
sense of
belong to
belonging.
our family.
Yeah.
Also,
And
we felt they should defeat Pakistan.
yes,
Oneness,
someone
and unique,
oneness,
unique.
unique, oneness. And tell me
Ownership.
one thing, do we actually go and play on the ground? No, the team players are playing over
We
there.
feel proud as if we are playing and they are playing for ourselves, or
Yeah,
we are
we
one.
feel proud, and
Mental,
also,
mental attachment, ma'am.
yes. So this perceived belongingness, this brings out a lot of emotions within us. Am I right? Please type yes if you are relating to it. Type yes in the chat box if you relate with this experience. Yes, quickly, yes, or just why, or no if you do not relate with this experience. Okay. So this sense of belongingness is the we part of our identity. So this is the social domain of our identity, which we develop through the shared group experiences. See, like here also, we are a member of APA. Here we are, we are associating with each other on some common interests and some common goals. So we, as a member of the society, so the previous slide, I'm on the previous slide only. Sure. So we as a member of society, and we develop the sense of belonging depending upon the shared group experiences. And one word of caution here, because it has some emotional component, the sense of belonging or the we component, we also exhibit stereotypical behavior at times, and we also exhibit prejudice at times because of this social identity. In some situation, this social identity, or the beliefs about our social identity will be displayed in a very stronger way. And in some situations, we will not be able to understand somebody's this layer of identity. I hope you all are there with me till now. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we can move ahead, sir. So as a teenager, the opportunities which are available to the students in school, like being a part of sports club or literary club or heritage club, or being a part of some particular team, all this leads to discovery and experimentation of uh, the sense of belonging, and identifying this layer, the social identity component of personal identity or overall identity. Now, coming to the cultural domain, as I mentioned, it has historical, social, and political context. We all we cannot, delineate us. We are social animals. We cannot delineate ourselves from the culture, from the ethnicity. So so there is a cumulative impact of nationality, ethnicity, religion, traditions, culture, even belonging to a particular generation, like we call the Gen Z, and we can, like I am from the 70s and 80s. So we have different kind of experience while growing up, which has a lot of impact on the developing identity, which we still carry. And if we see, gender is also a very important component of cultural identity only. And if we see very carefully, if we try to notice our own behavior, the communication that we um, adapt, and the relationship, communication and relationship, in both these domains, we see the influence of cultural identity tremendously. Okay, let me give you an example here. Suppose you come back, you are the man of the house, and you return from office at home. You're very tired, you had a very long day. What would you do? Would you make a cup of tea for yourself, or you will ask for it?
We'll ask for it.
He will ask for it. And
Yes.
me being the women of the house, and the lady of the house, so I am also working. When I return from office, and because of some unexpected meeting and delay from my usual time, what would I experience?
You
I
will be feeling
please,
that, hope
the
he should
ladies,
make the tea for you.
tell me what in this scenario you would experience. What feelings would surface in this situation?
We feel
The
somebody
lady would be expecting,
forward.
yeah, someone to make the tea for you.
You would feel like, if I put myself in this situation, I'll feel guilty. Oh my God, the lunch is delayed. Oh my God, my son would be waiting. Now, we lay these expectations onto each other in the relationship, and the responsibilities and ownership that we take. It is because of the cultural identity. This layer, these experiences, because of the culture and tradition, lead to these kind of feelings, thinking, or thoughts and behavior. Now, so this is about expectation. Now, if I take the scenario of a teenager, you know that teenagers, they try to, in this age, they try to question, they try to find and seek logic and reason for all these things. So there are certain things which we simply get from our parents, from our families. We have seen these, some of the traditional being followed in the family, and we never question. Now the teenagers question a lot. Maybe we wanted to ask, but in our times it was not welcomed. But India being a collectivistic culture, it is still not appreciated to keep the needs of an individual at a higher pedestal as compared to the needs of the group, right? In our culture, we give importance to the values like cooperation, obedience, collaboration, interdependence. We have a lot of, we give value to these importance to these values a lot. So in this, with this cultural influence, when a teenager tries to seek in logic and reason for some of the traditions or some of the values which the family adopts, it is not welcome most of the time. There can be exceptions, but it is not very uncommon in Indian household for scolding a teenage child for not following the traditions and um, customs. So now, what is the answer for this? But it is a very normal part of development, because the logic part, the prefrontal cortex of the brain in teenage is developing. It's becoming more functional now. So the reasoning, uh, because of that, they will try to reason out things, the routines, the customs, the traditions. So the answer lies in open communication. We need to involve the teenagers in preparation for certain festivals, certain traditions, so that gradually it will become a part of their behavior. And meanwhile, when they try to question and then they try to seek logic, the more we involve them, the more we will be they will be, able to, they'll be more aware of the cultural heritage that we have, and they will be more accepting to the uh, cultural traditions and beliefs that we have, and thus it will form a sound foundation for cultural identity aspect of the teenager, the growing teenager. In some families, it is seen. Again, I'll take the example of Indian scenario that nowadays uh, wearing different types of clothes which are, not very pleasing to see. It's the in thing, like cropped top or ripped jeans. We would not like our children to buy that. Like my son, whenever he goes for shopping, he only picks up black t-shirts or black pant. So I tell him there are so many colors available. So he says, no, this is in. This makes me look, smart and slimmer and more presentable. So these are big, these are the choices which can lead to conflicts. And if these choices are creating some kind of conflict on ideological basis or conflict on the basis of cultural identity, like we have certain experiences while growing, and when the children try to question those beliefs, it becomes a big scenario in the family. Do you all agree with me? How many of you have teenagers in their families? I experience it a lot. My son is a teenager. Yeah. And I think grandparents will also experience that, oh, there are certain things which don't matter. But now earlier when we were parents, we have done this with our children. Now we will not do certain things with our grandchildren. We should allow. So these kind of, you can say, perspective we get later. But when we are in that situation where the teenager is trying to confront you directly on this particular ground, when they are questioning your traditional traditions and beliefs, it becomes very difficult to, handle it. So the answer lies in open communication and more accepting, and sit in a safe and being non-judgmental. Provide them safe and non-judgmental space for their queries to be expressed. And we should, it shouldn't become a shouting match. It should be the communication should always be done in a, equal way, that when the other person is also able to hear out your logic, and you are also able to give your logic in a manner that there is less of emotions and more of facts. This is what I believe. Let's move on. So I hope the three components of the identity are clear. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? Yeah. Now, why it is important is identity is a transitioning phase. It's a transition between childhood to adulthood. So during this phase, we are actually expecting the child to prepare himself or herself for the adult roles, like having a stable career, having clear sense of personal, social, and cultural identity. We want him or her to make informed choices so that it doesn't turn out to be, very disastrous in terms of dealing. And then, so the decision. So it is very important for smooth navigation of this transitioning phase. First. Secondly, the self-esteem or the journey of discovering the sense of an authentic and stable sense of self. Identity development is very important. In fact, if I may say that self-esteem and identity development has a intertwining effect. A good or a healthy sense of self-esteem will lead to a healthier sense of identity, and a healthier or and I mean a genuine effort towards discovering self in terms of identity development will lead to a healthy self-esteem. Let me give you example here. Person who believes that I can do it will take the risk of new experience. A person who has a doubt that no, probably I am not capable of doing it, I will fail here, probably that teenager may not experiment in that particular domain. So that's how self-esteem and identity development are intertwined, and it's very crucial for navigating the adolescence. Now coming to and identity, a healthy sense of identity, a clarity about values, a clarity about beliefs about society, culture, and personal beliefs. That clarity will affect multiple areas of a person's life, be it be relationship, be it be academic choices, career choices, or the roles, the expectations, communication, and see, let me take one example here. The results are just declared a day or two prior for the CBSE. So in families where the scores or the results, it may be self-imposed, a particular mark or particular grade, that kind of expectation may be self-imposed in a teenager, or it can be imposed by a parent. Sometimes parental goals also children pursue, especially in this scenario. So if a person associates the score or the result or an achievement too much with the self-worth, then what will happen if the person is not able to achieve that goal? Tell me. I would want the audience to participate here.
You'll feel depressed.
Depression,
They'll feel
disappointment.
yeah, they'll feel like a failure. They will feel very low. They'll get demotivated, and it will lead to personal collapse if they tie too much of self-worth with a particular goal or achievement. Now, what is important here? If a person knows that this is just one aspect of my personality, it is just one aspect, or it is just the journey where I'm trying to figure out whether I am able to do it or not, whether what skills do I have to develop to actually acquire this achievement or this particular goal. Then that kind of understanding, which will develop through this process of identity development only, that will lead to so this kind of approach, which we refer to as growth mindset, trying to focus on the appreciating the efforts, appreciating the learnings from the failure, even from the success, not laying importance, not laying complete significance only to the achievement of a goal or a outcome only. So this will lead to resilience, because if we are not able to achieve that, we are able to bounce back better if we are able to separate the goal and the skill and the journey. So we are able to bounce back better in these situations, and this is nothing but a better resilience and better mental health. So identity has a foundation in mental health also. So a better and sound mental health also lead to the journey of identity development. So this is how this process of identity development is very, very crucial during teenage. Because see, tell me, I want to ask you all, whatever choices you made in the teenage or in young adulthood, do you find there is some change? Like if I talk about your food preferences also, if I talk about your preferences, the clothing preferences, or the kind of books we read now and the kind of books we used to prefer earlier during teenage or in our youth time, is there any difference in your choices? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes, so we keep evolving. So our identity also keep evolving, but the foundation is laid during the teenage. That's why in this age, and you all must be aware of the famous psychoanalyst Erik Erikson. He also, in his very famous theory of psychosocial development, he mentioned that identity development and identity crisis, this is the main or the chief developmental task during teenage. A teenager has to work on this, otherwise it will lead to difficulties in the later life. So it is very important. We can move to the next slide, sir. Yeah. And we experience that children in teenage become highly dysregulated, which is evident in the mood swings, in the high reactivity when we try to communicate with them, or when they try to communicate something to us, they become very sensitive in many scenarios. So emotional dysregulation and heightened self-consciousness is a very predominantly observed behavior during adolescence. Now, why heightened self-consciousness? Because of the physical changes happening, and because of being clueless about many of the aspects of the identity, they become highly self-conscious. Now, I want to ask one question here. Um, Try to listen very carefully. Suppose you buy a new refrigerator. Okay. Are you all with me? Are you listening?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Suppose
Yes,
you
yes,
buy
we are
a new
listening.
refrigerator, a washing machine, or any appliance for that matter, after unboxing it, what is the first thing that we do? Do we read the user manual or we start using it?
No,
No,
we
we read
start using it.
Plug it.
user manual.
Plug it
Using
to the
it.
mains.
Pardon?
Plug it to
How
the
many?
mains.
Plug it to the mains before reading the user manual? I am one person who would like to read through the user manual multiple times. Every time suppose I'm using a new microwave, I would like to, go through the user manual again and again to understand the functions and understand how optimally it can be used, and it can function better. Let us try to understand the neuroscience behind the developing adolescent person. So the next slide. Yeah, the neuroscience. As we all know, the puberty makes the onset. It is the onset of adolescence. Now, during puberty, there are so many hormonal changes happening, and because of the hormonal changes, we see the physical changes in the body, and we also see the behavior pattern, which is very clearly observable during the change in behavior, the change in physical appearance. It is observable during teenage. Now, there is one term used here, HPXs. You must be aware of it, but I would like to highlight it again. The hypothalamus, pituitary, and the adrenal axis. See, when we try to learn any new skill, is it new for us, or is it difficult, or is it easy? I want you to participate. When we try to learn a new skill, or when we try to do a new thing, suppose I'm trying to um, drive, I'm trying to learn how to drive a car. Initially, initial 2-3 sessions would be, how would it make me feel? Will I be too
Little
relaxed, or I will find
anxious.
No,
it
no,
very
no. Very, very scary sometimes. Anxious.
yes,
Curious and
Initially, it will be
anxious.
difficult.
yes. So when I say children or the teenagers, they experiment, they try to explore, they try to, try out new things, new experiences. So don't you think it will be stressful for them? Yes or no?
Yes,
Definitely.
yes.
Very stressful. So this HPXs in a way is a stress detection system. It's a communication system in our brain which tries to detect and react on any stressful situation that, in our surrounding. It may be a new experience. Suppose I go skydiving. I have made that decision myself, but I know it is risky, but I know it's not easy. How will I feel? My heart will be racing and maybe I will be shivering. So my body will take it as a stressful situation. So since the teenager is trying so many new things, the HPA axis is very, very active during teenage. And this makes them hyper reactive. This gives the reason for the reactivity. And this also gives the reason. So a combination of surge of sex hormones and the activated HPA axis gives the answer for this emotional dysregulation and the heightened self-consciousness, because they also experience themselves changing. They feel that everybody else is also noticing the changes happening in me. So they become very, very conscious about bad hair days. I have been contacted by parents of class 5th, asking that my child, a girl child, she is not interested in studies at all. She doesn't want to play with any of her friends. So I asked her, what makes you think that she is not interested in studies? Have you observed something? Is there anything in particular she talks about or she shows her interest in? So the mother says she's in just class 5th, she's this small, and she is saying that please take me to a beauty parlor. I want to get my hair, waxed, and I want to get my eyebrows plugged. So this created a, red flag for the mother, saying what has happened, what has gotten into my child? Why is she behaving like this? Nowadays, because of the changes in the lifestyle, we see the puberty striking very early. We see and because of the media, because of the exposure, we see a lot of bodily changes happening at a early age. Therefore, because they are not, the brain is not that developed to interpret these, so they become even more conscious. So the heightened self-consciousness is a mixed output for this surge of sex hormones and the HPA axis. Are we all here together? Now let's talk about the changes in the brain. Now coming back to the new appliance that we have bought a few minutes earlier, new refrigerator and a new microwave or a new, dishwasher. So what do we do? When we buy a new appliance, do we create a space for it in our house? Yes. So that it functions at its best and we can utilize it with ease. So when there are so many new experiences being undertaken by the adolescent, don't you think there will be a lot of remodeling, restructuring happening in the brain also to understand those experiences? Yes. So a lot of restructuring at the neural level, at the brain, in the brain, that is also happening during adolescent. So and one more thing, there is a change in the neurotransmitter system also. The major role of dopamine and serotonin, because of new experiences, sometimes the experiences are pleasurable for them. So there's a surge of dopamine and they want to seek those pleasurable experiences again and again. So these kind of changes are happening. Now, puberty also initiates intense learning. So I've read an article on LinkedIn which says that adolescent is a second window for learning. Because of this neuroscience, we must capitalize these changes, and we must provide a lot of opportunities for the teenager to experiment, to explore, and we should provide a safe and non-judgmental space where he or she can express himself and herself, the issues, the concerns, so that he or she can make better sense of his identity and he can find better answers to the question, who am I? Let's move ahead to the next slide, sir. Yeah. So you need to click again. It's on animation. Influencing factors. As we know that there are layers to the identity, the personal identity, social identity, and the cultural identity. So there are factors which influence at the personal level and at the societal and cultural level. The personal factors can be self-perception, how we perceive ourselves, what we think about ourselves, about our capabilities, about our interests and inclinations. A person who has clarity about his or her internal values, choices he or she makes, will be confident in those choices because guiding values are nothing but the guiding principles. They are like the light at the lighthouse, which gives direction to the ship sailing in the sea. So the more clarity we have at the in the internal value system, the more clarity we have in the choices we have, more, we get more confidence to explore. So these are the influencing factor at the personal level. Then the desire for autonomy. Now here I would like to talk about the parenting styles. The families in which the parenting style is such that they expect obedience more. They value obedience from the child more than expression or then asserting his or her own choices. In that cases, we see the desire for independence, the desire for autonomy would be lower, which is not a healthy, which is not a good scenario for discovering your own identity. So the more stronger the desire for autonomy and independence is, the more better choices a teenager can do. Now, I would like to give an example here, my personal example. And you must have experienced this in your own household also, that when there are two.
Sorry, we need to wait. She has dropped.
Sudha ma'am, good evening ma'am. Sudha Ramani ma'am.
Yes, I'm here only.
Yeah, ma'am, are you sharing any PPT ma'am?
Yes, ma.
Okay ma'am, okay. Let's after this session, just I wanted to know because I think speaker has been dropped.
Oh,
So meanwhile, I wanted to contact you ma'am. Thank you ma'am. Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome back ma'am.
Yeah, it was because of my poor network today. Anyways, I try to, fast forward it. So I hope the personal influencing factors are clear. Now talking about the experiences and expectations, the kind of experiences we have at the familial level, at the societal level, at the cultural level, and the background that we have in terms of socio-economic class, the generation, the exposure to educational and career opportunities, all this leads has an impact on developing identity of a teenager and the expectation that we put upon ourselves, the self-imposed expectation and the parental and the societal expectation also have a tremendous influence on a developing identity. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, can
You're
we
audible.
move to the next slides? Yeah, next slide, sir. Yeah. Now, what are
Yeah,
the
modern
modern day
business.
challenges? We all know that, we all know that social media has become a very easily accessible platform for teenagers and for others for self-expression. So in families where the teenagers do not get ample opportunity for safe self-expression, the social media has a different kind of influence on their developing personality. the teenagers who have some doubts about their physical appearance, some doubts about their self-worth, some doubts about their identity at social level, at cultural level. They do not have clear beliefs, or they doubt too much about themselves, then social media will have a lot of impact on them. And a lot of curated content which is there on the social media platforms. Yeah, I will try to finish off. On the social media platforms, the curated contents creates that pressure for comparison, and for it in a way leads unrealistic expectation for the growing teenagers. So we need to tell that we need to provide them opportunities offline in the real world, so that they can experiment here, not on in the virtual world. And also the challenge of balancing the expectation in terms of academic achievement and the family expectation, that also creates a lot of challenge in this discovery. There's a lot of stigma attached. Even today, a lot of stigma is attached for mental health issues, seeking help for mental issues. Now, I want to ask you this: the brain changing, the neurological changes happening in the brain, the structural remodeling happening, the surge of hormones, the HPA axis being so active in teenage, all that will it makes the teenagers more susceptible to anxiety and depression. So we have to provide safe place for them to express these concerns, so that they are not pushed into the clinical arena because of these confusions. The role and the identity crisis should not make them feel isolated. Then there are many issues related to gender identity also, because as we discussed earlier, that culture where the gender plays a lot of governs the expectation, the communication in a relationship. All this is and the behavior also is mainly governed as per the gender identity also. See, in the behavioral terms, one may try to imitate what a man is doing, what a woman is doing, what is expected out of me. But in the inner world, how is that growing teenager feeling? Like a boy, like a girl, or in between, or something else? That we cannot change. But when the teenager expresses these kind of confusions openly in the family or in the peer group, usually it is not welcomed, and they face bullying, they face discrimination even in their own families. That creates a lot of confusion, a lot of pressure. So again, the solution lies in open conversations. And in school setup, or even in families, we should have more conversations about body awareness, gender identity, the roles, expectations, so that they can clarify. And in this age, they have natural urge or attraction or inclination towards the opposite gender. So that should also be considered as a normal part of developing in the teenage, and we should not stigmatize it. We should have open conversation with a lot of patience. We should address these concerns of the teenager. Next slide, sir. Shall we move to the next slide?
The identity
After the modern day challenges,
is health identity.
I cannot see the healthy. Yeah, what are the signs that the identity is developing in a healthy manner, or the child is uh, trying to do the efforts which the child is making in the identity development process are in the right direction. Here I want to give a disclaimer here: the teenager doesn't have to answer all the questions related to identity, but they need space to explore them. So as adults, as parents, we need to allow them opportunities to discover themselves. So the key to discovering a healthy identity is an alignment between the social and the cultural expectations, and the values, and the personal identity. So the self-awareness about interest, strength, weaknesses, that should align with the other domains of our identity. That kind of effort should be made. So the idea is to develop a voice that is authentic, not just reactive, because reactivity is a very common behaviors. We should help an adolescent to find the healthy boundaries when they try to assert themselves. So asserting healthy boundaries, developing that skill, assertiveness skill in communication, exploring different skill, interest and skills, reflecting upon their own experiences. The amygdala makes them reactive, but the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for the executive functions like planning, prioritizing, organizing, decision making, that is developing now. The prefrontal cortex of the brain is also developing now. So they have now the capability to reflect upon their own experience. They can think about self in a complex manner. They're capable of doing that. So our role is to provide them opportunities, and when they try to think about themselves and their experiences, we should uh, give them right kind of guidance so that they can find answer to their questions related to identity. And we should also allow them to express their future aspirations. So we should allow them to, like when they were children, we were happily accepting their choices in terms of food, in terms of the toy they want, the clothes they want to wear. But when they become a teenager, we become so critical about their choices, especially related to career. I'm experiencing it. That's why I'm giving this example. So we should allow them to express their future aspiration with confidence, even if the choices are vague. We should help them make those choices clear. So that will lead to healthy identity development. And flexibility. How well can they adapt to the changing environment, to the experiences, whether good or bad? So these are the signs for healthy identity. Now let's move to the red flags. So next slide. When we see drastic personality changes, um, drastic personality changes like a person, a teenager who was outgoing, but now is withdrawn and uninvolved. He or she was very enthusiastically participating earlier in school activities and competition, in classroom interactions, is now uninvolved and now not ready for any new experience. When we see these kind of drastic changes, we should take it as a red flag. We should not consider it a normal mood swing or normal emotional dysregulation. We should take it as a red flag. The low self-esteem as it is for anybody, for adults also, it's not a stable thing. Sometimes we are very confident in certain situations, in certain situations we feel very unsure. So that's normal. But when there is a persistent low self-esteem, yes ma'am, and persistent low self-esteem can lead to behaviors like self-harm and even um, substance abuse, because they are not able to overcome the peer pressure or finding uh, right environment for expressing their concerns. This can lead to self-harm behavior and substance abuse and addiction. Next slide. I think that's the last slide. The next slide is the last slide, hopefully. Yeah. I want to ask one question. If there is a very important project, what do we do with it? Do we take it on a high priority, topmost priority, or do we delegate it to others?
High priority.
Yes or no? High priority, yes. And if we are not able to find answers, if we are not able to find answers to a particular aspect of that project, suppose a difficult concept is there or a new word is there, what do we do?
Take help or search in
Do
Google.
we Google search it? Do we seek help? Yeah, we search it, we seek help, we ask the teachers. Yes, ma'am. So we try to deal with those difficulties because the aim is to complete that top priority project. So identity development is a top priority project because it is the developmental task. It's very important part of the teenage. So what should a teenager do? They should try to take charge of this process. How we can do that, how a teenager can do that, or how we can guide. First, let's deal with the physical domain. So let's keep ourselves active. So we should encourage the teenagers to be physically active. They can go for walk, they can go for running, they can join some sports club, learn some skill. And diet, healthy diet is also very important, but because it has a direct impact on physical development as well as cognitive development, because brain also requires certain particular specific nutrients. So diet also should be taken care of. Sleep also should be, the sleep hygiene should be maintained. Life skills like decision making. Tell me one thing, if I have a ability, suppose I have a ability to make a very good dish, I can make a very good dish. How will I be able to, polish that skill of mine? Yes, please. When I practice
Repeatedly
it,
doing it more.
if I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, so the
practice,
more I do
practice,
it, I'll
practice.
be practice. So the life skills like decision making, planning, prioritizing, communication in relationship, understanding others' perspective, which is very important in developing a stable sense of self. So understanding others' perspective, which a teenager is able to do because of the development of prefrontal cortex. So we should provide them opportunities to talk about it and explore these. And in the picture where the traffic light is there, in the future aspect, there's a fourth light also, which is about reflective thinking. Red is stop. When you are very confused, just stop. When you feel that it is, I may react, stop. Orange is think about it. Green, then take action. And the white light is reflect upon your choices, reflect upon the actions, whatever experiences you are having, reflect upon it, think about it in self-reflective manner. And when you are not able to find answer, please do not hesitate in seeking professional help. We should remove that kind of stigma. In fact, as parents also, we should try to encourage children. I have seen, if a child is sent to a counselor, the parents do not like it, that why my child was referred to a counselor, what is the problem, he has not gone mad. We still face this, that kind of stigma. Okay, they only focus on performance, result, academic output. So we should normalize seeking help. Next slide, sir. I think that's the last slide. As parents, how can we support the sir? Yes, we have to model identity security. Usually, in the name of quality time or spending time with children, we try to preach, we try to command, we try to control them. But that is not quality time. The quality time is about reflecting your own identity, so that they feel secure in expressing their own identity and choices. So that we can do that by uh, facilitating open conversation, where we also express our concerns or our experiences we can share while we were growing. Suppose I'm dealing with a tough situation in office. Usually, especially men, they do not share those experiences at home. We can all make out that there is something wrong at the office front, probably that's why the father is behaving like this, or that's why my husband is mostly in a particular state. So children, as a family, we do get those vibes and we can understand. So we should reflect upon our experiences in our, with our children also, so that they know that our parents are also work in progress. They are also trying to figure out many things in their world. We are also trying to figure out many things in our world. So that's okay. This is how we figure out answers to our questions. Next slide. That's a quotation, and then I would end it. Identity is partly heritage. It is partly upbringing, but mostly the choices we make in life. With this, I would like to end this conversation, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you so much for that patient listening and your participation. This is my contact info. You can stop sharing, sir. Thank you so much.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, can I ask? Ma'am, your session is awesome, madam. I am just asking, please repeat the signals importance. Red color.
Red flags.
Yes.
Acha, now and then future. See, the traffic light, I just use it as an analogy here. Stop. See, when we feel dysregulated, when we do not know what to do, when we feel there an urgent need to react, we should stop there because it is better to respond. And how we can respond? By thinking. So the orange light denotes the need to think. And when we have thought through that situation, the possible responses we can give. And in teenage, many a times children make those choices which can have long-term damaging effects, which is irreversible, like the use of substance abuse or sexual promiscuity. So these kind of choices, because of certain peer pressure or because of certain frustration or some confusion. So the fourth light is the white light, which shows that the teenagers should be taught to reflect upon their choices. Have I answered your question?
Yes, yes. Can you please display your contact number or email ID once again?
Thank you, ma'am, once again.
It's in the slide.
Your contact number slide, please.